Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here once again with Juck Miletti. Juck, how's it going?
Fantastic as we wrap up here at Big Ten Media Days 2026. One more show before we hit the road.
Are you ready to go home? Kurt Signetti asked, he was the last coach to speak to the television audience, and speaking to the media at the television audience said, hey, you guys all ready to go home? Because he knew this was day 3. Some people just show up for one day. Some people show up for 2 days. We're here for 3. Are you ready to be home?
Absolutely, man. I am so ready. Just the stimulation of being around this many people for 3 days in a row with the constant noise and everything. It's enough. I want to get in a quiet room.
It is a lot of noise. Where Tom and Marcus and I are, we're 22 stories up, right? But it feels like we're still street level because of the noise of the loud cars and the police and the constant noise. Is it noisy?
Where I am is the 6th floor on the Best Western in the side street next to me. Yeah, there's a lot of action at night. We'll say that here in Chicago, downtown Chicago. Fun time. A little bit different than Indianapolis, for sure, and certainly,
a different kind of different from Las Vegas a year ago. But this was your first time here. This is the 20th anniversary of my first time here, and it was the Chicago Media Days, and lots have changed since then. Kyle Whittingham was told that coaches right now, when they do these offshoot things, they go for 45 minutes. Back in the day, it was 2 hours, and I remember having to transcribe 2 hours of Jim Tressel.
Oh my gosh!
So you just watching stuff, flittering about.
I got off easy. I did flutter about. I'll tell you, I got a lot of takeaways.
Yeah.
Unbelievable experience, really, for someone who's just, for starters, we could talk about like the media, like all the media that you've seen on TV throughout your life as a sports fan, to see them all in person. None of them near as attractive as they are on TV. I'll tell you that.
Did you get any autographs?
Tony? No autographs. But the funny thing is, like, my instant reaction is like, hey, I want to go take a picture with somebody, like I'm seeing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no, that's not how you do this here. Yeah. You're supposed to be a professional media guy. But no, that was really interesting. But obviously, getting these little 45-minute breakaways from all these coaches and hearing them talk, and we don't ever watch press conferences really in depth from a whole lot of these guys. A couple that really stood out. To me, obviously, seeing Whittingham today was of course one that I was waiting on. I wanted to hear his first long one, talking to the national media in front of, as the Michigan head coach. And the one thing that stood out for sure was he's not stoking the flames of the rivalry, though he did call Ohio State Ohio once, and that other place, or was it that other place or that
something
the other?
Yeah.
So he did not say Ohio State. I was wondering what he was going to refer to Ohio State as. I don't think we have an answer yet, but it's not going to be Ohio State. I think
there may be some T-shirts now coming out, like the other state university, something of that nature. But that was. He seemed to be used to the Pac-12 and the Big 12 in terms of the media, because when he got up there and he's like, I got to do this for 45 minutes.
He said, over yet? It was 20 minutes in.
Yeah, like this. No, you're going to be here for a little while longer. And then he stayed for about 41 or so. Don't want to get too into the weeds there. But this is a big step up, just like this sort of stuff. But it's also a big step up going to Michigan. But the good news is he's got a bunch of players that are, ready to go. As he said, ready-made. Although when he arrived, were you over there when they got there and they did the strength testing, they were did not pass.
How interesting was that?
Yeah.
Because this is something, remember, we talked about when Harbaugh left with that strength coach that they had, and were things going to go way down? And apparently it did, because Whittingham, it stood out to him and his staff just how soft and weak they were up in Ann Arbor. But he said they got it addressed. Now, I don't know how they could address it so quickly. But he says, long lean athletes, but the strength wasn't there.
So they address it through chocolate milk.
Right. Bryce Underwood, Tony. I don't know if you caught that whole thing. Let me tell you, man. Watching Jeremiah Smith and then Bryce the following day, the difference in attitude. I mean, both of them look like, generational athletes, right? Just
how much time were you over there with Bryce?
The whole time.
Oh,
almost. Yeah. Bryce is, but he looks the part. But he is just just like watching Jeremiah. He is so big, strong, confident, but the answers are so different. He's so arrogant. Asked him if he regrets anything he said. Absolutely. Like, he cut the question off, but no.
Okay, all right.
He's going to be an all-time villain in this rivalry if he wins one. I mean, it's going to get heated. It's going to be great.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy, he enjoyed the victories. And Kyle Whittingham was asked about that comment from Bryce Underwood on being the best player to ever come out of Michigan. And Whittingham had the same question that we all had. Is he talking about the state or the school? One, but also he's not losing much sleep over it. Also, you want your quarterbacks to be confident, though you don't want to say something that you're going to have to then live up to in those kinds of terms, and certainly he's going to have to.
So Bryce was asked to clarify what he meant specifically, and the guy says, "Did you mean out of state of high school of Michigan, just out of the state in general, out of the University of Michigan?" And Bryce's answer was, "Out of the state of Michigan." So there really was no clarification,
right.
And then he was asked a follow-up, that might have rubbed some people the wrong way. Does that bother you? No, that doesn't bother me. So, I mean, just confidence bordering on cocky, and, it's good for the rivalry, I guess.
It definitely is. Shifting away from that, I want to talk about some news from the Big Ten today. Talked with Director of Officials Bill Carollo. I asked him, is the Big Ten considering going to allow the television product to watch the replay officials and get a mic in there, get a camera in there? And he said yes on Friday night games in Big Ten stadiums. And I don't think it was just between Big Ten teams, but like every Friday night they will allow it, and we will see if they like it. They probably won't extend it through the season, but he said, they could if everybody likes it. It's something that the coaches were in favor of. He has no problem with it because he's confident in his officials. But everybody loves that kind of access, and now we'll get to see all of the 16 angles. Why wasn't Kenyatta Jackson? You just saw him get dragged down. Are they talking about that at all? So what do you think about finally having that access in the Big Ten?
We just watched all these Big Ten coaches stand up here on this podium, and the first thing they all did was praise Tony Petitti for being such a visionary and forward-thinking. And it's about time the Big Ten hops onto this, as we've seen it here in the ACC and the Big 12 now for a little bit. And it is very interesting, like hearing those conversations during them making the call. I think it just adds a level of transparency that you need. And it's fantastic. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for them to roll it out further. But I think it's a great thing for the conference to move forward to that. I think everybody should.
The coaches will also have access to that as well, so they'll get that firsthand account of what's going on. Anybody else that you talk to that or coach that the crowd around Cignetti? I'm going to tell you, this has been the largest crowd around an Indiana coach ever. We're sitting at a round table here, a little bit bigger. My first time being in the Big Ten Media Days, it was Terry Hepner, who was the late great Indiana coach now. But there's a table of about 8 chairs, and then it was like 3 rows deep, just being enamored with them. But Cignetti today had the biggest crowd today, and that includes Kyle Whittingham. It was a lot. I set up my camera to shoot video, and eventually somebody stood in front of it, and that's just how things go when you're running all over the place, and people just aren't considerate anymore in the big cities.
Yeah, I had. I won't tell that story. But when we talk about some people who really stood out, Dan Lanning did not. I'll tell you that much. Dan Lanning absolutely did not stand out. But talking to like Cignetti today, I would love to hear his opinion on Bob Chesney, because Bob Chesney was like sitting, just listening to him talk, and the confidence that he exudes. It's like the it factor that you can't describe. He's got it, and it's no surprise that UCLA has a top 25 class. We know that he can coach. We know that he has a staff. Tony, he's got all the recipe that Cignetti had walking in. I mean, what Cignetti did was the greatest thing ever in college that we've seen, but you couldn't have done that until recently, right? Who's to say you can't see something, not that, but something similar at a place like UCLA?
I think it's possible. Now, this is something that Tom and I talked about the other day, talking about Brett Bielema, because he mentioned, he was asked about Indiana, does that give everybody hope? And he's like, what Indiana did, yes, it gives you hope, but it's the greatest thing that has ever happened in college football. It's like the biggest thing. So can you repeat that? Like nobody should have to be repeating that, but it shows you what's possible. And it certainly fires up fan bases and boosters. And when you fall short of that, it's like, why Indiana did it, why can't you? And it's like, well, did we have all of these seniors? Did we have all of this talent? Did we bring in the number 1 draft pick in the NFL? Oh, we didn't? Well, then,
right.
Like these aren't small things. These aren't just, NIL. It takes more than that. But it is interesting for you to get a look at where you can't get a word in to some coaches because of the entire crowd. But then you get like a Bob Chesney who has maybe like 8 or 9 people around that you can actually talk to a little bit.
Which surprised me. And have more.
Yeah, and well, it's UCLA, and there's not going to be much California media here,
right?
So there are coaches like you can talk to just because there aren't enough people around. Although at every single table you'll find some Ohio State media, which I'm sure you noticed.
That's true. I did notice that. Also noticed that Dan Lanning, cut short, right? He cut out quick.
Yep.
Typical
about
Dan
26
Lanning,
minutes.
26 minutes of his 45 that were allotted to have him, and he cut out quick. I did want to add that Ryan Day, his presence here, he knows he's the man. He knows he's the guy that represents the conference. He's the top dog, and he carries himself like it.
Yeah.
And he does a great job in this kind of setting. I mean, he looked like the dude. It was awesome.
Well, and he's worked hard to bring football back in 2020 when Kevin Warren canceled it. So he's been a voice in the Big Ten. Like once you become Ohio State head coach, you are one of the voices. But he certainly put up a fight over the years, and so congrats on your first one.
Thanks, buddy.
Nobody knows where it's going to be next year. We'll eventually find out, but looking forward to that one as well. And now camp starts next week, and
a week away.
Boy, I hope you get some rest because there will be no rest after this. So that will do it from here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I just remembered this was a Buckeye. Did I say this is a Buckeye Weekly?
You did.
All right. So this is a Buckeye Weekly. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up. We'd appreciate the follows and the subscribing to the channel.
Subscribe to the channel today.
That's very easy to do. Just hit the bell to be notified as well. And, of course, find us over at BuckeyeInsiders.com. Would love to see you there. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later.